that's nearly it from us here on talkSPORT Extra Time. We've got Paul Coit standing by with his brilliant early sports breakfast, and after that, the big show, and tomorrow, of course, the big day, game day. But you may not always be watching the TV. You may not be listening to talkSPORT in the evening or in the afternoon. You might want to set your recording device for some movie action. And I've got 3 recommendations, as has our mate of a Friday, Mr. Man Friday, when it comes to all matters movie-related. Van Connor joins us once again. Good morning, Van, and how was your week, sir?
Good morning to you as well, Mr. Ross, and it's been a good cinematic week, actually.
And I've seen the list you sent us, and it's a very mixed bag. You've got a trio of almost unrelated movies, which is great, some real choice, starting with what could be a kind of a family favourite, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Over to you, Van.
So this afternoon on CITV of all channels, first time I've ever recommended a movie on CITV, and it's the James Gunn written 2002 live action movie Scooby-Doo, in which Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini, and Matthew Lillard are the Mystery Inc. squad. You get a CG Scooby, and the gang are reunited after some years apart on Spooky Island, a college sort of spring break resort, which is kind of like a Polynesian island paradise run by Roland Emmerich's Mr. Mondavarius, who has called them there to investigate a case involving basically the teenagers leaving the island as zombies, effectively. I've got a clip for you.
Here we go.
So you're the one who brought us here?
No, what brought you here was your insatiable appetite for a juicy mystery.
The truth is, Mr. Mondavarius, Mystery Inc. is broken up.
Oh, but that's the beauty of something broken. It can be fixed, and therein lies its potential. And I need you to fix Spooky Island.
Well, what's the problem exactly?
I believe somebody is casting a spell on the students.
Now, I saw this when it came out and took my daughters to see it, and they kind of enjoyed it, and I kind of enjoyed it, but I couldn't help but thinking that had Hanna-Barbera had their head screwed on, they might have turned this into a kind of cross between a slasher film, a drug movie, and also one of those kind of spring break topless romps. They could have made a kind of grown-up Scooby-Doo, couldn't they?
They really could, and I would argue that because it is written by James Gunn, and it does show because it noticeably holds up in terms of its, more filthy content that sort of slipped in under the radar.
And also this whole notion that maybe Shaggy is a little bit of a, shall we say, pothead, as they used to say back in the day.
I mean, he gets a love interest in this one, whose name is Mary Jane. His response to that is, that is like my favourite name.
Absolutely. Mary Jane, of course, used to be slang for the marijuana, as my nan used to call it. So that's on CITV, and that's this afternoon, is that right?
4:30 this afternoon, indeed.
OK, well, I've got one for 11 o'clock this morning, so if you're heading for work, you might want to set your recording device for it, because I love this movie. It didn't do that well when it came out, got some bad reviews, but it wasn't the vision that Ridley Scott and star Tom Cruise had of Legend. It's a sumptuous film to look at. This, I suspect, on the Horror Channel, 11 o'clock this morning, is going to be the cinematic release, not the released relatively recently full director's cut, which is a fantastic film. 3 different endings were shot for this. The film is Legend. Tim Curry's in it as the main man, this hideous demon creature, and his voice in this film is so deep, so low, that even bison, I think, have trouble hearing it. Let's have a clip.
You've stolen my dreams away.
All things change, lady. The dreams of youth are the regrets of maturity. Dreams are my speciality. Through dreams, I influence mankind. My dream is of eternity.
So are you a Legend fan? It was out in 1985, I think, 11 o'clock this morning on the Horror Channel. Do you like Legend? It's got elements of the Dark Crystal, elements of Labyrinth, that very 80s fantasy.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a very early star vehicle for Tom Cruise, but I think the real star of it is Tim Curry, and he's so iconic in this. It's one of those films that you just sit and think, if that had been cast any other way, I don't think it would be quite as a classic as it is. But Curry is just amazing in it.
Fantastic. In fact, I thought it was being remade 3 or 4 years ago when a film called Legend with Tom Hardy came out, but that, of course, was the story of the Cray twins. Couldn't have been more different, could it? OK, what have you got for us as film number 2 for your recommendation list for Saturday's movie-going delighted?
So Saturday afternoon at 6:25, perfect tea time Saturday night entertainment on 5 Star for you. It's one of my favourite ever movies. It's just, for me, just a really rock solid sort of suspense thriller. It is 1995's Outbreak, the Wolfgang Petersen movie starring Dustin Hoffman, Morgan Freeman, Rene Russo, Donald Sutherland, Kevin Spacey, and Cuba Gooding Jr. And it's kind of the now iconic movie of, the monkey that spreads the virus to the US and the US medical division, US Army's medical division, having to scramble to sort of contain the contagion.
It's also, I think, it's the kind of closest Dustin Hoffman's ever really come to an action film, isn't it? And it's all, I've seen this several times. It's always a really tense watch, this film.
It really is. It's funny that you've just picked a movie by Ridley Scott as well, because at the point that this was being made in the early 90s, Ridley Scott had a rival project going on at the same time called The Hot Zone. His was going to star Robert Redford.
Right.
And that has only just this year been turned into a cable series, finally, after 2 decades, starring Juliana Margulies. That's for the National Geographic Channel. I saw it. It was pretty good, but it was no Outbreak.
Okay, 6:25 tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening on 5 Star. Let's have a listen.
Why in God's name would you keep me out of there?
It's a civilian matter, Sam.
That's bull.
CDC is on it. Let them do their job. Oh. Besides, we don't have a charter.
Oh, the charter, Billy. It's not about a charter. People are dying. It's about you being a doctor. It's about that sacred oath that we took, remember? Billy, we've been friends for 20 years.
Yes, we're friends, Sam, but I'm also your boss. I run this outfit. It's not run by committee. You do what the hell I say do. I'm your boss. I have my boss. Is that clear to you?
Yeah, get your boss on the phone. Call up McClintock. Tell him to put me on a plane before the two of you kill a lot of people.
Great movie, that, folks, if you've never seen it. And even if you have. Now, my recommendation is something that should actually strike a chord with both me and Van Connor, because sometimes in life, Van, I know you bear me out of this because you suffer the same affliction. Sometimes when you're so good looking, as we are, you don't get taken seriously, do you? That must happen to you all the time. Certainly happens to me. My matinal good looks mean I'm not really given the cred I feel I deserve. I'm joking, sadly, in my case, but I'm not joking about a great actor and filmmaker, really underrated, called Cornel Wilde. He was a Hungarian-American. He was a fencing expert, trained actor, was on in Broadway. Laurence Olivier cast him back in the day in Romeo and Juliet. He helped teach Laurence Olivier to fence for stagecraft. And he made a couple of films in the 60s as a producer-director, and he starred in them, which I think are fantastic. One is called The Naked Prey from 1965, a film with virtually no dialogue about a man who's captured by an African tribe and is given the chance to run for his life. That is one of the scariest and most involving films you'll ever see. The other film he made, and it's my recommendation for tomorrow afternoon, is a great and I think really underrated World War II movie. It's a bit of a Vietnam allegory. It's called Beach Red. It's 3:15 tomorrow afternoon. Again on, this is 5 Spike, not 5 Star. Stars Cornel Wilde, also co-wrote it and directed it. It's got the magnificent Rip Torn, and let's have that classic 1960s trailer. It's Beach Red.
The mosquitoes are out there waiting for you. The ticks are waiting too. Their bites can cause malaria, typhus, trench fever, bubonic plague. The oil of the Cammonday tree, if it enters your body, will be fatal. But your greatest danger will be your fellow man.
You must never point a gun at anybody, Mike.
Oh, my God.
And, of course, anything, Van, with Rip Torn has got to be worth a look, hasn't it?
Oh, God, yes. I think we'll exclude a couple of the Men in Black sequels, but aside from that...
He's got to pay his pension fund, had to pay his mortgage, I suppose, didn't he, like all of us. And let's end, you big softy you, with a bit of Sunday romance for us. What have you got for us this week?
Well, as you so brilliantly put it, it's something of a Doris Day, Rock Hudson throwback. It is 2002 or 2003, I can't remember which one, but it's Down with Love from Peyton Reed, the man who would go on to give us Bring It On and the Ant-Man movies. It stars Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger, David Hyde Pierce, a.k.a. Niles from Frasier, and before we knew who she was, Sarah Paulson. And it is basically the battle of the sexes played out as this almost musically tinged homage to the swinging 60s, but in that style that Mad Men has come to embody in all those years since. He is the roguish, vagabond, eternal bachelor reporter, a catcher block, and he's, no woman can pin him down unless it's in a very particular way.
Steady.
And he crosses paths with an upcoming feminist writer, Barbara Novak, played by Renee Zellweger, who's written a book entitled Down with Love, which tells women they don't need no man. They can enjoy life for themselves on their own terms. And he decides he's going to romance her. I've got a taster for you.
Here we go.
My book instructs women that love is a distraction.
That book is ruining my life.
All our wives are giving us trouble.
You have to solve this catch. Squash her.
All women want love and marriage. I'm going to write the expose of the century. And I am going to make Novak fall in love.
Wow.
Now, I saw this in the cinema. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those kind of great frothy candy floss films, and it really is. It's kind of pre-Beatles America, isn't it?
It very much is. It's one of those, to be honest with you, when I saw it was on, I thought, I got to pitch this to Paul, because I know for a fact he'll be a fan of this. And it has that great technicolor feeling. It has that great staging, that great sort of 60s studio staging. It looks like a musical, even though it kind of isn't, but it has moments.
Excellent stuff. And I'm going to end with a great sporting film. I love a boxing movie, and I loved, back in 2004, Cinderella Man. It's unbelievably 15 years old this year. Stars Russell Crowe as a true life story, James Braddock, a kind of Depression-era boxer. His wife's Renee Zellweger. They're having another Renee Zellweger recommendation, and they're caught up in the financial turmoil of the Depression era. He's older than a boxer should be. His trainer is Paul Giamatti. I think this is a wonderful film. Yes, it's sentimental. Yes, it's at times cliched, but it's a really great sports movie. Cinderella Man. It's on the Sony Movie Channel at 5:55, 5 to 6 in the old money, Sunday evening, and we've got the trailer.
It's sad to see a fighter that was once the caliber of James Braddock reduced to this.
Listen to me. Your legs are getting heavy. You're too slow. It's over.
Just give me another fight, Joe.
What's done is done.
Not always.
I'm sorry, Jimmy.
I'm always behind you.
It reminded me, this fan, of that film Seabiscuit, also based on a true story, also from the same era, and again about an American sporting underdog. Seabiscuit was a racehorse, of course, and Braddock was a great boxer. Did you like Cinderella Man?
I did indeed, actually. It was a film that I think it wasn't marketed very well, particularly in the UK. I remember seeing it on DVD and thinking actually it was better than it had any right to be. But I think Russell Crowe is genuinely a far better dramatic actor than we ever get for.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing about this movie, the weirdest thing you could ever know about it, is that this movie genuinely led to the creation of what is now titled the John Oliver Koala Chlamydia Ward, which is an animal treatment facility in Australia. That's a genuine thing that exists.
And what, did Russell Crowe kind of endow it or something with money from this film?
Because John Oliver bought the leather jockstrap from this movie as part of a publicity stunt to promote the last blockbuster in Alaska. And Russell Crowe responded by giving the money in his name as a charitable donation to Steve Irwin's Animal Hospital in Australia.
That is a fantastic sporting trivia note to end on, Van. You're an absolute star as ever. Remind us where we can find your cinematic musings.
You can find me in audio form on podcast platforms every Friday with Rebecca Perfect on the Off-Screen Show, and on YouTube in animated form on the Me Movies web series.
Always great fun, shoots from the lip and the hip, and he joins us each and every Friday. Van Connor there talking to me, Paul Ross, with half a dozen movie recommendations for the weekend, you lucky people.